Greetings everyone, it's time for a video. I'm going to talk about this, in this one we're going to talk about this Knipex Precision Circlip Pliers Set. The Knipex part number is 001957. I picked this up some time ago, actually I guess last year, off of eBay. It was new, but I think it was somebody was clearing it out. You can find these in a number of places. Knipex makes circlip pliers. They're not a very, or they're also called snap ring pliers. They're also they're not a very common thing that people usually get. It's really more, I wouldn't say a very specialized tool, but unless you're going to work with you know, motors and engines and other mechanical things, you're not really going to run across these too much. Most people go and they'll pick up something like this Pittsburgh set or others, and they might have other sets. I'm not really aware of them. It's just something that you either have it or you don't. You either have a need for it or you don't. So Knipex has other sets besides this one, and I'll open it up real quick just to show you. I picked this up some time ago, so I don't have the box. This isn't really an unboxing video. I have to use these a couple of times, and I'm going to talk some more about them in a minute, and then going to talk about this too, this Pittsburgh set, just a bit as kind of as a comparison point. So, like I said, Knipex has a bunch of sets. They have, I'd say, I think it's 6 sets of these, and there's 2 different styles. This is kind of the, they call this their Precision set, and these have 4 individual part numbers, which I'll cover in a second. I picked this up, I don't know, it's cheaper than what I could find it at the time. I think I got it for around like $65, and that included shipping, so it's a pretty good deal. I've seen them nowadays, sets, if you can find them, running anywhere from $70 to $74 to upwards of $90. Most of your, what I find interesting is most of your normal places don't have this, like KC Tool, Chad's Toolbox. Other sellers of German tools don't have these. You can find them in Europe. Jens Putzier, assuming I'm saying that right, they have it. Amazon has it. Occasionally you can find them on eBay, new, or I haven't seen them used, but they're usually new. And like I said, I've seen them overseas a bunch, but just for whatever reason, the American sellers don't really have them. So you might have to struggle a bit to find them. I'll put some links in the description, a couple spots where I found some. So as I was saying, there were 6 sets. This set is, they call this, like I said, it's a Precision Circlip Pliers Set. They say in the catalog that this is listed as a set of common sizes. They have 2 different styles, and this is the Precision style, and they have which is it's bolted and they're forged, but it's kind of like 2 pieces. It's a little different. And I'm going to cover some more details in a minute. They also have kind of a forged set, which I don't have any to show you, but it's very similar to, like, say, this pair of Knipex wire cutters, where they're kind of forged and they're pressed in, while, if you notice, these are bolted. So that's kind of one of the differences between the 2. They have 6, as I said, they have 6 sets. 3 of them are forged, similar to this, and then 3 of them are these Precision. And the sizes are either the counts are either 4 pieces or 8 pieces. They have 4 sets of 4 and 2 sets of 8. Now they also have other sets which are in trays, and those are either 4 or 6, but they're different than these. These are kind of like general purpose in some ways, but they say, like I said, these are listed as Precision sets. I'm going to talk about what that means in a minute. Let's see. So on average, if you buy these individually, like say from KC Tool, these will run anywhere from $27 to $34 a pair. You know, I don't really know price-wise how you compare to others, but that's what they have. And by the way, Knipex isn't the only one who makes these. Of course, Ghidorah has some, Stavilla, Hotset, etc. These aren't exclusive to Knipex by any means, and I'm sure the quality is good for others as well. But you know, Knipex is well known for their plier qualities or pliers quality. And that's how it works. So if you buy you know, like say if you bought this set, for example, from KC Tool or somebody else, you're probably talking $130. While like if you get a set, and of course that doesn't even come with a pouch. So if you buy the set, you get the pouch and you get this 4 like I said, anywhere from $70 to $80 to $90 in terms of deal. It's just a little harder to find. So let's see. The individual parts are, these are for internal and external circlips. And real quick, before I get too much further into this, I'm going to talk about circlips real quick. So circlips is one name. You also hear them called snap rings, or if you watch AV, he calls them, or AV, he calls them Jesus clips, because they will pop off and fly, and they are kind of dangerous. To give you a rough idea of what they look like, there's two different types. There's internal and external snap rings or circlips. The external, you're more like for a shaft that sits on, like, say, a motor, and you might have a circlip on there to hold the shaft in place, or a bearing or something else. While internal will sit more inside a board, maybe to hold something in, like you might see it like on a socket wrench or a ratchet wrench. You might see something like a snap ring or something similar. The way they work is, and I don't have any circlips handy, but like you would say have like, and this would be, I think, yeah, this is going to be for an internal, and it's kind of weird that you get kind of confused about what they are. So you would like put this in the holes of the snap ring, and you squeeze it, and it bends just a little bit, and you're able to pull it out and then let it go and remove the clip, and then it also uses the same thing to install them. So that's just kind of an overview of what they are. Like I said, unless you're doing that kind of work, you're not really going to need it. And in fact, a lot of people don't, or if they do, they'll buy a cheap set like this, which I'll talk about in a minute when I can do some more comparison. Specifically, these are, if you talk about these in general, they're atramentized. I think I'm saying that correctly. They're gray, and that basically means they have like a coating on top, or not kind of a finish or something built in. It's not chrome plated or anything like that, and the forged ones don't have that either. They're like this, but then you can see where they have this atramentized finish on the edges there. The catalog for Knipex lists these as being higher quality versus, say, their standard. And if you look at the prices, on average, these might range anywhere from $2 to $4 more than a comparable pair of forged. And if you look inside the catalog, even, they have a lot of marketing stuff around these pliers. There's a couple of small sections, not a lot. Knipex is actually pretty restrained about their marketing stuff, unlike, say, Hotset or Ghidorah, who has a lot more. Not that that's a good thing or bad thing. That's just a difference on how their approach is. These are they're also bolted, while the forge, they have the kind of the press in and the dimple to where they're kind of fixed in place. So it's a difference. It is a torque screw. It looks kind of like maybe an 8 or something, a T8 or T9. Not really sure. One of the interesting differences, and I'll try to zoom in a bit and show you, but I'll also draw a picture, and you can see it in the catalog. These, the jaws have a little dimple, and the way they have these two pins that sit on the end that grab the clip, right? So the way this works is this little dimple, and I'll try to draw it so like you have, say, the end of the plier, and then you have the tip. There's a little dimple here. And there's same thing on the other side. On the other jaw, you'll see the same thing. So, first I kind of wondered about this. I wonder what those are. And then I looked at the catalog, and it turns out what they do is these pins are actually inserted. So unlike the forged style, and they actually mention this, the forged, they say, are more like turned. These, they insert the steel pins in the end of the jaws, and then they press them in. It actually deforms the inside of the jaw and the pin to hold it in place. Now the claim is that these are up to 10 times more life, as well as being slightly more precise. I don't have any experience whether or not something like that would be true, but it is one of their claims, and they certainly say it. So it's just a kind of an interesting difference. One other thing I will say, the other difference in the forged style is they have more of this grippy, smooth handles. It gets more like plastic dip, and this is plastic dip too, except this is kind of that rough, coarse style. I'm happy with both. I like both of them. I haven't really seen a difference in terms of whether or not this is something better or worse. It's just something that it is. So now let's get into the specifics about this. I'll start with the small ones. This is, let's see, the part number, and let me zoom in a bit, and I'll try to pull this out of the way, and then we'll go through each individual pair. And let's see here. Hopefully we can focus without too much trouble. So this is, if you look on here, of course, you got the bolt, you know, and this is the jaw. They have Knipex, of course, stamped in there. Here's the handle, Knipex, and then it's, in this case, it's 4811J1. And those are circlip pliers. These are for internal clips, as I said before. And the range is printed on here for what they expect. In this case, it's 12 to 25 millimeters. And of course that is made in Germany. This is not spring. It'll open way up, but I suspect you probably can't really get. I mean, obviously that's roughly 2 inches. So what their range is saying is roughly from here to here, and that's where the clip. That's for where the pins are for the clip. The clip itself might be larger or smaller depending on what it is, but that's kind of what they're saying for the size wise. You can see the back here. That's where the bolt comes through the end. In other words, it's threaded. I'm assuming you could maintain these, though I don't really know what maintenance you would need to do. These pins are pressed in and aren't meant to be removed, so I can't imagine that you would want to go and take them out. Let's see. Anything else to say about these? There's nothing really much. I mean, they're pretty, you know, simple. They are roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and about 3/4 inch long. I don't know if you can see that on that side when we do it that way. Pretty straightforward in size. You know, light. They feel good in the hand, but they're meant for smaller stuff. Moving up, we then go to, this is the same size in terms of range. This is 4911A1 is the part number. And again, same thing. You got your bolt, Knipex, got your handles. But these are spring loaded. There's no spring. You can't see it, so it's going to be buried inside here, and I'm not going to take it apart to see it. These are for external, so you would come in, put them in here, pop it open, and then it releases, or you release it when you want to have them close. Range on here is listed as 10 to 25 millimeters, so a little more. Made in Germany, of course. There's nothing on the back. Of course, you got Knipex. Like I said, this is kind of the analog to the internal. So they kind of go together like as a pair, and that's how that works. Let's see, move it along. We'll go to the next one, which is, this is 4811J2 is the part number from Knipex. Again, Knipex, they have there, it's the same thing. It is larger, so if we compare it with the smaller one, you can kind of see the difference here. Let me get it in the right way since I've zoomed in. This is about, looks like about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 long, maybe almost, yeah, about 1.5 inches long. Longer than the smaller ones. The range on these is 19 to 60, so there is some crossover, right? You've got 10 to 20, 12 to 25 for these, and then 19 to 60 for these, so there's a little bit of crossover for that. Again, you can see they've got that, the part number, made in Germany, and so forth. Same stuff. All these in terms of style are all the same. I will try to, let's see, let me put this here real quick and see if I can get something to point with. So I can't zoom in any more, but I don't know if it's possible you can see it, but that's the dimple I was talking about right there. So let me try to pull up and see if I can get it real quick. Give me a second here. Hopefully I can get this to focus. Yeah, okay. So if you notice, you can see it kind of there. There's that kind of a dimple. And get what I'm talking about, it's right in there. Yeah, that's the spot where they press in, and you can see the end of the pin. So anyway, back to focusing. Hopefully it'll focus. Okay. Anyway, moving along. So this is the larger internal ring, as I said, and they, you know, they feel good in the hand, etc. I don't really expect any differences in terms of how they feel. this will be the last one for this set. This is 4911A2. These are, again, for external clips. They have a spring, so they will stay closed versus, say, the others, the opens, which, you know, you can do them however and they stay, versus these, which obviously let them go and they close. 19 to 60 millimeters is the rated, the size that they're rated for. Which, of course, again, that means there's some overlap between the smaller set and this one. Made in Germany. Same thing, it's bolted. You can tell there is a slightly different size bolt. It's a little larger. This might be like a 15 or something. So, at any rate, that's the size for that. Again, nothing on the back of the Knipex. You can see where it's screwed in. So, one thing they do say is, and you can kind of see it a little more here, how the pins are kind of angled out, like so. I'm assuming that's to help them grip. Because if this is an external, when you're in, right, and you're grabbing your circlip, you want to have them kind of slide up, which is kind of a nice little feature, that because you're really only going to pull about like that much and then pull your circlip out and let it go. So kind of an interesting little feature they have there. It's a pretty nice little detailed touch, I'd say. That's really about it for the pliers themselves. You know, these are what you would expect. They're pretty high quality. They feel good. They're solid. You know, I guess some people would probably complain about maybe this being bolted, but I mean, they feel solid to me. I don't really have any issues with them. I'm going to zoom back out now. They seem fine and good quality, you know, as you would expect. And that's kind of the way it is for them. So these are the pliers themselves. Obviously, they come in, as you can tell, this pouch. And let's talk about the pouch real quick. So it's a little different. There's no Velcro. And if we fold it up, you can see you got a clip in, and it's adjustable snap. So you can tighten it up some. You can see you can pull, or you could loosen if you wanted to. You have a nice Knipex logo, which is, it's raised. It's like a patch. And it's very nice and solid. I don't suspect this will wear off anytime soon. They even get the nice little registered for their trademark. Good sewing. It feels good. And it's like, I guess, nylon or polyester or something like that. And then, of course, it's quick and easy to open up. You got your flap here, which is, I guess, cool. But I did kind of find this to be a little bit irritating because, like, you know, it'll flop. So you kind of, if you either have to, and it'll stay sometimes, but sometimes it won't. You know, if you push it down, that's fine too. And you know, good sewing between the pockets, everything fits. I will say that the spring handle ones, you know, for the outers, you have to go and compress them to put them in, and then you let them go. I don't know if there's really any way to avoid that. I mean, short of making kind of an oddball, you know, pouch or you know, whatnot, pockets, seems kind of odd. So I don't know if it's really worth it or not. So now, one thing about these, this set are straight, meaning that the pins are straight for the pliers themselves. Knipex also offers, they offer some that are 45 degrees and 90 degrees as well, and that comes in some of their other sets. So like you might see 90 degrees, so like the body of the pliers are here, and then the jaws, and then the pins come down. I've kind of drawn it kind of exaggerated. And then they also have a 45 degree like that. So to give you a rough idea though, in terms of comparison, which to see it, we'll go and we'll compare to this. I mentioned this earlier, this Pittsburgh set. So, you know, do you really need these? And I'm only going to say that, you know, do you really need these? And that's only if, you know, you're in the case where you're doing any kind of work that will require you to work with circlips or snap rings. Well, I mean, that's actually a hard thing to say. In terms of quality, these things are great, and I'll cover that more in a minute when I do this, talk about these some. But it's harder to make a case that you need them unless you're going to work on stuff, or, you know, there's a quality, certainly justification with the quality, because otherwise, you know, you're stuck kind of getting these. You know, and I guess you could find used ones too. I don't know. I really don't see too many used snap rings and stuff. So this is a Pittsburgh set. I picked it up. I've seen the price range anywhere from $5 to $11. I don't think this exact one stays now, but it is there. So I don't remember when I picked this up, and I will say these do work. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But you know, it's exactly what you would expect. This is I don't know. These aren't. Yeah, it's made in China. So these aren't the made in Taiwan quality. It's Pittsburgh. You know, they have everything a little different. These are always spring only. And then they have these interchangeable heads. So I'm going to zoom in real quick because I want to show you what I'm talking about in terms of the 45 and 90 degrees. And then because you can see it on this. So let's see here. If I can zoom in some. Give you a rough idea what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah. So like right here, you can see where you got a 45-degree angle, and then you can also have a set that's 90 degrees, and then, you know, compared to say a straight. So Knipex makes those as well, and what that ends up being is they allow for different types of access into you know, same basic clips, either internal or external, but it might be like you have an obstruction and you want to come in and you need to bring your pliers in this way. So you can't come in straight because there's something in the way. So you have to come in and maybe service something there. And the angle gives you just a different way to get in. Or, you know, maybe there's a long shaft. You don't want to come in straight, you know, because your hand might hit it. So you want to come in at an angle. You know, it's just a different approach. In practice, I don't know if there's any real need for one or the other. I can't really say. I think some of it's preference as well as driven by, you know, what is it that you're really trying to do, and will the straight ones not, you know, work for you? I don't know. I can't really say. That's you know, it's a situation by situation basis really for people. Anyway, back to this thing. So the part number on this is 60531. Like I said, it's anywhere from $5 to $11 is what I've seen it. These work for internal and external, and so like you could take how it works is you go and you pop this on like so. And actually, let me do a straight pair. Pop them on like this. There's these two little pins, and then what you do is you take this thing and you feed it through like this, and you can already tell this is all kind of fidgety and stuff. And then there you go. It's in place. Now these work. They're okay. Yeah, you know, they're fine, I guess. Like I said, I've used these a few times, and they were okay. But then I saw this Knipex set, and there was a good price, and I said, you know, I had more work coming up where I was going to have to go and work on some things where I was going to have to take some circlips off. So I went ahead and bought them, and I've used them a few times. They've been good. These are okay. They're, like I said, they're fidgety though, and you know, they have these things are flimsy, and you know, give you a comparison with the Knipex. I mean, you just don't have that, right? It's nice and straight. It's solid. It feels good in the hand. You know, these are spring, so they're always that way. While these you have too. Now, you know, this kind of has a little more flexibility compared to the set, sure. And of course, it's a lot cheaper. But you know, how long are these going to last? I mean, do you really want to fidget? I don't know. I can't say. I mean, it really depends on your, you know, how often you use them, and if you're more of a pro, or you're going to be doing even, you know, some stuff that you really need these for, then I'd say get the Knipex. I mean, there's no, or you know, just the set pliers themselves versus this kind of goofy set, because I mean, as you can even see as I'm trying to change it here, it's very fidgety, and sure, they work, but you know, if I'm only going to use these like say once a year, this is probably fine, I guess. But even then, I mean, I can't say that for certain though, because you know, it only takes one pop and this thing's going to pop loose, or your spring won't get grabbed right or whatever. And you know, in my use, this has been okay. But these are definitely, I noticed a difference in terms of using them, that they were certainly better. So, you know, apart from that, I mean, they're fine. They feel solid. The finish on the handle is roughly similar. You know, you can tell these springs kind of lame really on this. But, you know, they do work. I don't know if there's any, they claim that this goes from 3/8 inch to 2 inches, which is roughly 10 to 50 millimeters. So in terms of the set, the Knipex certainly has a better range in that. Since it goes from 10 to 60. You know, these things are solid and nice. You know, and then of course there's the philosophical choice of, do you really want to support Chinese tools versus, say, some high quality stuff? That's another aspect of it. Now, I haven't gotten rid of this, and it works fine. If I ever get in these situations where I need to get in tight spaces, I'll probably use this for the angled ones. And if it gets to the point where I'm using it enough times, I'll look at buying some of the angled versions of the Knipex. You know, it's, like I said, it's kind of a choice of whether or not somebody wants to do this or not. These are okay. I'm not going to get rid of them, but they sit in a box, and if I ever need them, I have them. It's not really taking up a lot of space. You know, they just fit in a plastic bag. But the Knipex have done, so far, for the few times I've used them, have done extremely well, and I'm very pleased with them. I'm not bothered even remotely that they cost more money. I don't really consider, you know, I think, like I said, I paid like in the 60s for them, to be a huge amount of money for something of this quality. So, and like I said, when I've used them, they performed extremely well. Now, I can't say from a, you know, for a professional whether or not they would have a huge, they might have a different viewpoint on it if you're doing this day in and day out, but this would be a better set by far. I mean, you know, then it comes down to brands and quality, and that's not the point of this video. At any rate, that's it for this video. I don't really have much else to say about this. They could beat this horse into the ground. In the end, you know, they've done well for me. I like them. I would say if you're in the market for this, certainly take a look at this sets. And I will say, though, unless you're looking for very specific sizes and you know that's all you're going to do, I would advise, if you're going to get some of these, get a Knipex set. It makes more sense economically, really. I mean, it really does. I mean, we're talking in some cases perhaps almost double the price to buy these individually, and you don't get a pouch, versus, you know, buying a set, which will cover lots of things. So that is one thing I will say for definite. Definitely something to consider, that if you want to get one, get a set. So anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and as always, thanks for watching.